Texas has the seventh highest property tax rates in the United States. In large part, that is because we do not have an income tax, so local government is mostly funded in Texas by property taxes. The legislature has heavily focused on ways to reduce property taxes. What they have not focused on is helping delinquent taxpayers get out of property tax debt easier. In fact, this system that private law firms are allowed to profit from was set up by the legislature. Initially, when the legislature set the system up, the law firms were allowed to charge a 15% fee for collection to these delinquent taxpayers. Later, that fee was increased from 15 to 20%, again by the legislature, when those law firms asked, can we charge more money? So this is something that the legislature has oversight over, has allowed to persist, and this is the reason why the revenues are so high for these law firms. The question really that shapes this whole conversation of delinquent tax collection and who should collect it is really a moral and political question as much as an economic one. And that is, should the burden of delinquent tax collection be spread out over all the taxpayers in a taxing entity, or should it be placed entirely on a small group of people, usually it's only 1 or 2%, that fall behind on their taxes every year? Currently, most places put that big burden on that small group of people. It saves the whole group a lot of money, but it makes it very burdensome for that small group of people. Our finding that the private law firms who do this delinquent collection made $184 million in revenue from these fees in one single year was surprising to a lot of tax collectors. That is a lot of money just from one single source of revenue. Most Texans do not fall behind on their property taxes. However, for the small group of Texans that do fall behind in their property taxes, this is incredibly burdensome to them because of the very high fees that this places on them because of the collection fees that the law firms charge. We featured families in this story who talked about once they fell behind on their taxes, it became so hard to catch up because not only did they have to pay the back taxes that they owed, they had to pay all of these extra fees that the law firms charged on top of that. Is that the right thing? It's not for us to say, but it's something that Texans going forward, now that we've provided them with, this is what the result is, something for them and the legislators to decide about what they want to do with this system.